Welcome to the Penguin Podcast, brought to you by Penguin Facilities Management.
We'll start with introductions, Michelle. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Yep. So I'm Michelle Connolly. I run a business called 300 North. It's a recruitment business in the FM sector.
Right, okay. So tell us a little bit about that journey. You started the business in 2015.
Yes, yeah.
Just give us a little bit of a background and where 300 North came from. Where you are now and where you've been.
Okay. Probably helps to start at the beginning, actually, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So initially, my career, I did a degree in business, and then following that, I did a year in industry, and I actually went into the software business. So not in FM, not in recruitment, and that kind of journey was all around business development and relationship management and strategic strategic relationships, which I absolutely loved. When I finished that year out, I was offered to sponsor me through my final year.
Yep.
So I was looking to go back into that software business. That didn't materialise at the time, but actually, coincidentally, I was. My father ran a software business, so the business that I worked for were looking for a reseller of software, and I ended up across the table from some of the management team that in my father's business. Really random, and what then kind of happened was some of the management team there asked me to join that business, of which I was like, absolutely no way whatsoever, definitely not getting involved in a business that my father runs, and eventually I did, which probably what then made me really sort of bloody minded in I've got to work really, really hard.
Yeah.
I've got to prove that it's not sort of boss's daughter.
Yeah.
I'm in that business for a reason, and I spent 13 years there in the end.
Wow.
So I moved into different divisions within that business. We were selling into the insurance industry and financial services markets, which a bit of a similar sort of market, I guess, to FM in that it's a very friendly market. It's very relationship based business, and then I was kind of travelling all around, both globally and in the UK. I had my first child, and she was 2, and I was spending a lot of time away from home. So my husband, Paul, who is also CEO of 300 North, he had a background in recruitment, working for a big recruitment company, and he looked to set up on his own. And around that sort of same time, it was about time for me to leave the software business. I wanted to spend more time with my daughter, and so I got involved in setting up 300 North together with him. I'd always wanted to get involved in setting up a business or being part of that. So yeah, that's kind of where the journey came from into 300 North, really. It was all about offering a great service, connecting talent with businesses in the FM sector that were looking to.
And what
recruit.
made you pick the FM sector?
So he had a background in FM.
Right.
He actually ran a couple of branches for the recruiter that he worked for at the time.
Right.
He set up the FM presence for them. And when we looked to set up the business, it was about being specialists, rather than being generalists in the market. He had a lot of knowledge in that arena, had built that up over a number of years. We also have a number of people that still actually work for us that started on that journey with him as well. So a lot of knowledge around the industry, and it was really, bringing that forward out of a big corporate business where we could focus on doing the right thing,
Yeah.
delivering the service, building the partnerships and relationships, basing it on really understanding the industry really, really well, and providing the solutions kind of into niches where they're needed
Yeah.
within the sector.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So from that initial vision, how have you seen it evolve over the last 10 years? You've gone through, the same as a lot of us,
Yeah.
different pressures. You've gone through, things that we've, unprecedented, that we've never had before. How have you seen that vision change, or has the vision remained very much the same?
I think the vision and the values have remained the same in terms of that partnership approach and delivering the good service.
Yeah.
I think what has changed is, everything's changed, hasn't it? Certainly since COVID in the market, we've had to really pivot as a business. So where the niche is for us, FM and infrastructure, we also do construction and energy recruitment now. So we've had to diversify quite a lot as a business, but we've still got the specialism sectors within each of those niche areas.
Yeah.
So I think, like everyone, you're constantly having to
evolve.
as a business.
And we'll talk about that diversification a little bit later on, because it goes into some of the other questions that I have got. And I think it relates to this question I'm going to ask you now, because recruitment is a tough industry. It's a very competitive industry. But what things have you learned along the way, and what things on that early stage have you learned that's helped shape the business today?
I think consistency is a huge thing. So obviously, as a recruiter or a recruitment business, it's positioning yourself as the trusted partner. So someone knows they can come to you when the time is right, or when they're thinking more strategically about what's the succession planning for the business, what's our growth plan, where are we going, and it's about that advice. But it's always for us being about being honest, doing the right thing, providing the knowledge, making sure that we can back things up with data. So as things change in the labour market, as we've seen shifts in different employment trends, as we've seen salaries change, as things have changed politically, it's constantly updating and adapting and providing that advice, really.
Yeah, no, I absolutely get it. So looking at that diversification, has that come from the talent shortages that you're seeing in the industry, or is that because you've just had new opportunity?
So probably a little bit of both, I would say. I think the UK market, there's been so much change since COVID, definitely. I've mentioned that before. A lot of change, and that's driven different skills shortages, different talent needs, that kind of thing. So diversification for us has sometimes it's been a planned route to diversify. Sometimes it's been we've just had to adapt as the market's evolving. But it's also looking at adjacent industries and complementary industries as well, because, a big thing is thinking about some of those talent shortages and the needs of infrastructure going forward. They're only ever going to increase. So, it's great that we've got all this investment into infrastructure going forward, but where is the pipeline of talent coming from?
Which was one of my next question. Is describe that shortage at this moment in time. How bad is it?
So I think the labour market has loosened. We've seen redundancies, we've seen all sorts of things like that, which has meant that there are more people available than there was a couple of years ago. In one
Okay.
sense, there are more candidates on the market. I think the um, the shortage is around specialist areas and finding good people.
Yeah.
So things like, we get a lot of demand for things like commercial resource, compliance resource, really good leaders. We do quite a lot in the PFI
Yeah.
arena. So, clearly a lot of pressures on things like PFI handbacks and that specific resource that has some knowledge of that market.
Yeah.
Um, People have been talking for years about the shortage of engineers. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's no surprise. So I think it's niche pockets really, but it's looking, as I say, at those adjacent industries for actually where can we get some of those transferable skills
Yeah.
rather than just looking inside FM.
Yeah.
We I think people's minds have broadened,
Yeah.
and it depends on the client that
Yeah. Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
talking to
Yeah.
there, really. Some are very open to the fact that, okay, skills wise, we can take someone from another
Yeah.
industry like manufacturing, logistics, energy.
Problem solving at the end of the day, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And a lot of the time where we're looking for kind of senior leaders or managers, it's looking at what problems they've solved
Yeah.
strategically, where they've worked, their ability to manage
Yeah. Yeah.
different stakeholders and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
So do you think the soft skills that people have got are more important now than necessarily the specialist skills?
definitely. And again, it depends on who you're talking to and which particular segment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all that resilience, adaptability, ability to lead people, bring people on the journey with you. The the things that people have done and seen.
Yeah.
So soft skills are really, really important. There are areas where people's mindsets are sometimes a little bit still fixed in that, they need that technical background
Yeah.
or those particular qualifications. But in general, more people are open to the skills-based hiring, and that is the way everything
Yeah.
is going now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So somebody who comes from a software background, yeah, how are you seeing technology, the likes of AI, shaping the recruitment industry?
In a positive way and a negative way.
Yeah, let's talk about both. Yeah, let's talk about both.
So I think it's really, really helping to reduce some of the admin. It's helping to quickly identify candidates and things like that. I think it's only going to grow, and the challenge comes more where it's used at volume and it's missing the human element and touch
Yeah.
points there. So I think, again, on specialist recruitment, it can only do so much. We talked to some clients who are looking at, big mobilisations, for example, where they're looking at volume recruitment and they need to use the AI to sift the massive amount of applications that they want to go through.
Yeah.
But it will miss some things. So, for example, as you know, I'm involved in the IWFM Veterans in FM
Yeah.
Committee.
Yeah.
I was having this conversation with someone around that, which is it's very unlikely to pick up potentially, a veteran who hasn't had the specific experience that they may be looking for, and
Yeah.
it needs that more human element to highlight some of those sort of skill sets and how they transfer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, AI is massive, isn't it? It's never going to
Yeah.
go away. It's only going to continue, and I think in the recruitment industry, it's for us about kind of testing those tools that work and what doesn't work,
Yeah.
and not getting too sidetracked by trying to look at everything,
Yeah.
but really hone in on something that can that can help the productivity of the business, and can help reduce the time that our recruiters are taking on the admin side, spending more time with relationships, more time talking to people, more time kind of really focusing on looking at the specific talent that our clients need.
Yeah. So let's jump onto the IWFM veterans. Yeah. So my first question on the veterans is, you're not an ex-veteran.
I'm not, no,
You're
no,
not.
no.
So where's the passion
Yeah.
come from for it being veterans rather than just IWFM?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my mum was in the Navy.
Okay.
My brother in the Army, and many other family members in
Yeah.
the services. So I've grown up a bit under that banner
Yeah,
as a
likewise.
military
Yeah,
child, which
yeah.
I know you have as well. And I think it just makes you a certain way. There's that drive.
Yeah.
You understand the value that veterans possess, and that absolute resilience and adaptability, which is so important now when
Yeah.
we're recruiting. So I was asked to join the Veterans Network, actually just through conversations with people in the industry, which at the time I knew a number of the committee members were veterans,
Yeah.
so I did question that a little bit.
Yeah.
But actually, you need different skill sets again, like we
Yeah,
say,
absolutely. Yeah, 100%
within the committee,
Yeah.
and it has been brilliant. And I'm such a relationship based person that's really passionate about the conversations that can come from being involved with things like this, and again the crossover
Yeah.
is just so surprising. So
Yeah.
the people that I've met through getting involved with the Veterans Network, who have served with my brother, who actually the conversations that come up are incredible.
Yeah.
And probably one of my most favourite ones is my mum was based, when she was in the Navy, she was based in Mauritius for a time. Terrible posting,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
And so it sounds very indulgent, but they've had a house there for many years. So I've been going there since I was about 6 years old. And some of their neighbours over there, I was having a chat with one of the original committee members of the Veterans Network, who works for my team and their government and defence arena, and has a background, has some family in Mauritius as well, who happened to turn out to be my parents' neighbours, and
Brilliant.
these
Yeah.
sorts of
Yeah.
conversations.
But
that
it
can
is
come,
such a small world,
it
isn't
is.
it?
It's such a
just,
small
yeah,
world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and the other side of it really is that diversifying the talent pool, not just through veterans, many other areas as well, but looking at how else can we bring people into the FM sector?
Yeah.
How can we provide the awareness of the FM sector? Because nobody knows
No.
what
it's
FM
it's
is.
the most under talked about industry.
Yeah.
I've spoken obviously with Louisa, where you purchase your car insurance or your home insurance, and it asks what your occupation is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have a section
No.
for FM, but
No.
it's such an important area. So how do we encourage more people to join the FM industry? Does it start with recruitment? Or is recruitment just the part of it? Whether it be veterans, whether it be, the normal folk, is that the right word? But how do we raise the profile and bring people in to stop that talent shortage?
Yeah.
And a lot of them specialists will be in.
Yeah.
Will
Yeah.
be in, the armed forces.
I think it is talking about FM much more than we do in wider circles, isn't it? It's I think probably you've touched on this with other people, but we do tend to talk in our circle of FM.
Yeah.
Where we need to talk much more broadly about it and what we do as an industry. So many other industries are, they're in the press, they're on the BBC, they're out there all the time, and this is one of the most amazing industries. It literally touches everything, doesn't
Yeah.
it? It's enabling everything within our communities. The built environments everywhere you look.
Yeah.
But people don't see that as FM, so it's talking about it more, it's going out and discussing the case studies, it's engaging young people in universities and schools and colleges and everything like that, to understand that that's a viable career option, and what the option for a long-term career is. Very much the opportunities are endless, aren't they, in FM? You could be working on a healthcare project, you could be working on an education project, you could be, working with an infrastructure investor on something, globally. You could be working on in a specific, great building in London, whatever it is. But I just don't think at the moment that message
There's not that educational
is
awareness going on. But is it down to the responsibility of people like you and I as business owners to raise that responsibility? Who is responsible for raising that awareness?
It's a mix, isn't it? It's got to be a mix. So, the institute, the recruiters in the industry, you guys as FM service providers, clients, it's talking about it more and outside the spheres of influence that we currently do. So on the veterans side, definitely it's been great to get involved in the Veterans Network, because over a couple of years I think we have made quite an impact there, engaging with service leavers that are coming out, that are seeing us, are having a conversation with someone else. Everybody's so supportive in the industry, and happy to introduce one another and use those networks. That it's an easy transition.
Yeah,
Skills,
and it's lovely to see a win. If you're seeing after you've done all that work over the last couple of years, that veterans are reaching out, and the word is getting out there, and then they're reaching out, and you're right, it's a supportive industry where then people are going to have that transition they deserve.
And we talk to a lot of veterans already in the industry about where they've come from, as well as people that aren't veterans, where they've come from, and a lot have come from other industries, manufacturing, whatever, as I mentioned earlier. But for the service leavers, it's that uncertainty of where do I go next, and how my skills can transfer. So we do a lot of work on that from the Veterans Network, but I think just creating that community within the sector, and sharing the stories, and allowing people to see that there's like-minded people within that community, really has been great to see, and it's all positive.
So we spoke about, obviously, the talent shortage. We've spoke about where the possible gaps are to fill them shortages. For any business out there, whether it be FM, whether it be in engineering, whether it be energy, what advice would you give them if they're struggling to attract candidates, especially them that are struggling to bring in them younger and them more diverse people? What would your advice be?
I think it's sharing the story of your business and helping people to understand what the vision is and how people can get involved. As we talked about earlier, FM is not widely known, and the case studies are not necessarily widely known to people that are stepping into this industry. So it's definitely communicating who you are as a business, what your culture is, what you stand for, what your values are.
Do you find the older the business, do you find that there's less chance of them having them vision, values, and goals, and having that culture? And
I think that is probably a common thing. I mean, if it's a big business, then obviously they're quite often redeveloping their marketing strategies and things like that on a regular basis. When you're a smaller business and a small SME, you've really thought about that, and that's a core part of who you are, and you can communicate that. I think with bigger businesses that have been around for longer, sometimes the message is it's either a little bit old and doesn't necessarily reflect what people are looking for today.
Yeah.
Sometimes it needs a bit of a refresh, and sometimes it's just a bit too complicated.
Yeah.
Because
What do you say though to if you go into a business and you're seeing exactly what we're talking about there, and there is no strategy, there is no culture, they've really forgot why they exist other than turning up to do the job.
Yeah.
What do you say?
We do have a lot of these types of conversations, actually, and it's an opportunity to get in there and advise and be consultative around what people should do. And hopefully people take that advice, which is, here's how you need to position yourselves as a business in the market. If you're looking to attract that talent, what type of talent is it? Is it middle management, operational management? Is it you're looking to attract some senior leaders? Are you looking to bring new people in?
And I think the younger, sort of the junior posts and the graduates and them kind of people, it's for them it's an expectation.
It is
to be able to look at a website and actually understand what the culture is, so that when they go to interview, it's probably the questions they're going to be asking. They're not going to be asking the kind of questions that were being asked maybe 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's so much more important to young people thinking about getting involved in a business that means something, that the culture is vitally important. What's the route for ESG and sustainability and all those kinds of things are the questions that young people are wanting to know. And also, in recruitment, things like flexible working, that's kind of a given these days. And it was something that, yes, post-COVID, we all got used to that. And different companies have reacted differently since then. Now it's like, okay, we need to get everyone back in the office. Well, part of that, depends on the business again. So sometimes that works. Sometimes, the flexibility is a prerequisite, and, you're coming up against the next business who offers that.
Yeah.
So I think you've just got to think really carefully about who you're trying to attract, for what purpose, and flex the message really in terms of how you can support them, and what does the long-term career opportunity look like? What is the pathway? Because for young people, that's absolutely what they want to know. And yes, average tenure is shorter these days within businesses.
And we're seeing that with the CVs that we discuss and we receive. Is that the days have gone where you're seeing people in jobs for 5 and 10 and 15 years. You're seeing more. If somebody's in a job for 3 years, it's a good stint.
It is. But I think some people do stay and will stay if they can see the opportunity and the growth within a business. If they're sharing that vision that you've got, that as a business, you're looking to grow into different areas, and
Yeah.
you're winning new clients and contracts. Where does that take them next?
Yeah.
I think if you can be quite clear about what that opportunity is, then that positions things slightly differently with some
Yeah.
of the younger candidates.
Yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Share a success story of someone you've placed. You don't need to mention that person's name or that company, but somebody who's gone on to do, really great things in that 10 years
Yeah.
of obviously doing what you've done.
Yeah.
Just share a success story of somebody who's made you really proud.
Oh, one person. That is putting me on the spot, isn't it? Okay, there's quite a few that I can think of, but we've definitely had people who, or one I can think of, who started out as more an account manager sort of role, and stepped through the ranks and has now moved to being a senior director. Moved to regional
Right.
director, has now moved to being a senior director, running, multiple kind of healthcare contracts and PFI sort of contracts, as well as moving between different sectors in between. So may have done a bit on healthcare and education, and perhaps stepped into some defence contracts. But there's countless examples of that.
Yeah.
And I think even if you talk to the Veterans Committee members, for example,
Yeah.
just bringing it onto the veterans piece again, the movement with those guys, they've stepped into the industry not knowing what really FM is in some regards.
Yeah.
And a number of those people are heads of businesses, heads of huge service providers, where they might be running government sector, or they might be running healthcare sector or whatever.
Do you find them that have gone on to do good things, it's the business, or is it the leader behind the business?
The leader behind the business, generally. I think if you're a leader of a business, it's about taking people on that journey, isn't it? And and providing space for people to shine and bring their
grow,
ideas and grow. And usually, behind a successful person that we might have placed into a business, it's that leadership that's brought them through, and the business that's given them space to move and to grow as well, but usually driven by the right leaders.
So you're a business owner, you're a leader. What makes a good leader in today's world, because it's so different to yesterday's?
Empathy, I think, is a big thing.
Controversial.
It's about being empathetic, but being strong and decisive to make decisions sometimes, isn't it? I think when we first started the business, you're so conscious of wanting your staff to be happy and to bring them on that journey, and everyone to buy into the value and the culture, that sometimes you solve those problems a little bit too much. That would be my my experience. And you've got to realise, as a leader, you need to step aside and allow people to solve their own problems in order to grow. And that's a simple thing, isn't it? But I think
going back to the empathy thing, because more people that I talk to about this, as in empathy, some get it, some don't. It's usually the older generation that are less empathetic.
I'm glad you're not putting me into that bracket then, in that case.
We have to be careful. we've got generations that are completely different to previous generations. Do
Yeah.
you believe that is one of the reasons why that empathy has had to change?
Yes, I think you have to use it in the right ways with, people slightly differently depending on where people are coming from. I mean, you've got to balance that with expectations, haven't you?
Yeah.
From a leadership point of view, certain things are non-negotiable. To grow a business, you need I've talked about resilience. You need people that are going to get up in the morning, are going to put the extra effort
Yeah,
in,
yeah, yeah.
go
Yeah.
above and
Yeah.
beyond, and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And
Go back to what you said at the beginning about consistency. Yeah.
yeah, you've got to be consistent.
You've
Yeah,
got to have a consistent team.
yeah,
You've got to have a consistent way of working.
yeah.
Yeah, but then you're still expected to be. Yeah.
Empathetic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying there. That the consistency is vital. Otherwise, no one knows where the heck they're going.
Yeah.
I think it's leading with that emotional. What's the word I'm looking for? There's a word I'm looking for that I can't find, so you'll have to cut
If it
that
comes
bit out.
back, if it comes back, tell me. So, what shapes good culture?
I think the overall strategy that the business has set, has to be the start, and then all the leaders within the business being on board with culture, and then filtering that through an organisation is so important. Culture in a business, has got to come through the people, hasn't it? And the
100%.
relationships that people in the business have, and the relationships that you have with your suppliers, with anyone in your supply chain, with other stakeholders in the business. It's reputation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Having a good culture that flows through the industry, no matter who you're dealing with. That's kind of your reputation and where the trust really comes from. Culture, I think, is something that is really, really hard to get right.
Yeah.
From a recruitment perspective, that is one thing that I think sometimes people don't major on enough when they're trying to attract talent into the business. It's about the job role and the expectations of what that person needs to do, but
Yeah.
really looking at the candidate there all the time, thinking about, am I going to fit into this business? What is the culture of the organisation? How do I know that I can be there long term, or how can I develop relationships? It's something that I think when you're dealing with a recruitment business, we advise on that basis, and
Yeah.
we have to get in to really understand the culture of your business, understand the people behind it, understand why you are doing what you're doing, and what you stand for.
Yeah.
And if you get that right,
Yeah.
then it's easier to to sell that vision to new talent that you're looking to attract. We talk all the time about sometimes people think that I'll go out to 5 recruiters because I've got an urgent need for this role, and it's going to increase my chances of filling that role.
Yeah.
When actually it doesn't. It kind of mixes the message out to market, because you'll never get 5 recruiters
All saying the same thing.
saying the same thing, and that's your business, that's your
Yeah.
culture.
It's your voice.
It's absolutely that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's better to invest your time with a particular partner that you're going to take the time with to understand the business. It's like, you winning your clients, isn't it? It's taking the time to understand that you're aligned and
Yeah.
and all that
It's
sort of
it's throughout the business. It's supply chain, it's clients, and you know what? You have the right to say no.
thing. Yeah,
The same as a candidate to the other way around.
that's right.
The
Yeah,
candidate has a right to say no because the culture does
Yeah.
not fit,
yeah,
and ultimately, good culture gives you longevity.
yeah, yeah.
And it's an absolute must.
That's it.
So looking to the future, yeah, what major shifts do you see within FM recruitment over the next few years?
Yeah. AI is a definite one. We've talked a little bit about that
Yeah,
already. That's only going to increase and embed kind of more into narrow it, doing some of the heavy lifting work, I guess, behind the scenes, and help the process or help sometimes quicken the process. Technology will have a big part to play, whether that's within recruitment agencies bringing talent in, or whether it's with our clients, yourselves, your use of AI and technology and those sorts of things. I think we need to keep an awareness of that. Some of the
yeah,
big service providers obviously using AI in more volume, so it's kind of keeping updated there. I think more partnership basis for specific niches is where I think FM recruitment will move a bit more in future. So there's plenty to go round.
yeah,
FM's a massive sector.
huge.
There's
Yeah,
lots of different recruiters. You said that earlier in the market, but it's identifying which one of those recruiters can help you in that specific niche.
yeah,
Whether it's a location or whether it's a specific, we need a commercial
yeah.
person
Need at the time.
on this contract. It's that sort of thing.
Yeah,
I think also thinking about succession planning and planning ahead is something that companies need to think a little bit more about, because what's been happening is, as employment costs have risen and it's become harder to recruit in certain areas for businesses in the FM market in the last kind of year, perhaps that succession planning and long-term view has maybe been a little bit lost. So they're looking at more immediate, needs
yeah,
for what's on the coming down the track on the contracts. So I think it'll come back to, because we have got a skills shortage in certain areas for those really specific roles and those specific skill sets. It's more looking at how can we plan for that?
yeah,
How can we understand who's in the market? Where's the data to position that?
yeah. And it's interesting because it always comes back to the data, doesn't
Yeah,
it? And
yeah,
and I think that is the problem across our industry, and it goes back to collaboration as well. And I think the more we can collaborate as businesses, the data actually becomes more valuable.
yeah,
And
yeah,
at the moment, there is too many companies wanting to do it solo rather than collaborate.
yeah,
And I've said it for the last 5 years that, we've been operating, and it's the reason for our growth is collaboration. And collaboration costs less money.
yeah,
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 but delivers better results. And it all goes together at
yeah,
the end of the day.
yeah,
So, so the industry is moving. Yeah, and it's moving at a huge pace across all levels of the industry. If there was one thing you could change in the FM industry, what would it be?
I think it would be probably the visibility of the industry, because I think in order to develop that pipeline of talent, and going back on the recruitment side again,
Yeah.
it's got to come from lots of different areas. We've talked about the veterans angle. We've talked about young people. What else is out there? Bringing in diverse talent, moving the sector forward. When
Yeah.
you look at currently in the sector, we all know, it's people of a certain age, and it's not as diverse in terms of, there's less women and all that sort of thing, which we just need to be looking much more closely at how are we communicating as an industry, how visible are we, and how can we bring that next set of
Yeah.
talent through. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably the main
That's a
thing
great
for
one.
me.
No, that's a great one for me. So, what excites you most about the future of the industry?
I think the investment that is being put into infrastructure is really, really exciting. As I mentioned before, we do a lot on the PFI side. There's a lot of talk. There has been a lot of talk about PFI handback, and that is not necessarily attractive for people coming in, because they think, oh, that's closing, that's closing down. Where are the opportunities? But there's so much new infrastructure investment coming through that that is really exciting.
Yeah, we drive
It's
through the cities and we're seeing all these new buildings go up, and
absolutely, yeah,
we're seeing new medical centres, new schools,
exactly, yeah,
new student accommodation. We look at Leeds,
yeah, yeah.
it's thriving. The
Yeah.
industry is thriving.
Yeah, and it's the impact that has on society and our communities that I find really, really exciting. I think
Yeah,
that connects you with, anyone basically in both in the UK and globally, and I think the opportunities are huge. It's only an area that's ever going to grow from a talent perspective, that bringing more people in, creating that visibility about the sector more, that's exciting. Any part we can all have to play in that,
yeah,
fantastic. And again, back on the sort of relationship side, it's how can we bring other kind of thoughts and views into our industry from adjacent sectors,
yeah,
because the opportunity is there.
yeah,
I think the use of technology, again, we've talked about that, will only grow, and think that's quite exciting to
yeah,
see what that does. Sustainability, and
yeah.
that journey to net zero offers tons of opportunities, and,
Agree.
and, and again, hopefully an area where we can attract different talent, young talent into the industry.
Yeah,
So yeah, loads of things
yeah.
to think
No, no.
about. Oh, exciting.
Gonna finish on a bit of a personal question, because I know you obviously through working with
Yeah.
you, through networking with you, and you're extremely passionate about recruitment, about the FM industry. If you weren't in the recruitment industry, in the FM industry, where do you see yourself?
Oh, don't know. Personal shopper? No. No, I don't know. I'm shopping for myself. I would say definitely something relationship based, maybe consulting in another industry, or offering some value to another business, through advice, consultancy, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
But it's always for me going to come back to the people element of it. I
yeah,
love people.
yeah.
The
People,
conversations
relationships.
fascinate me
Yeah.
that you can have. So yeah, definitely something around that.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. It's been great to talk to you.
Thank you. for
And
your time.
hopefully we've give everybody a little bit to think about.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Penguin Podcast, brought to you by Penguin Facilities Management.